coming up on Nittany Game Week.
It's amazing to have your family and friends, and especially your family, been with me through it all, the ups and the downs, and here we are, world champs.
Saquon Barkley celebrates his birthday with a Super Bowl title, which former Nittany Lions can now call themselves NFL champions.
We're coming. It's going to click. Let's just keep playing. And I thought that was awesome instead of let's go.
The men's hockey team borrows a page from the women's volleyball championship book, how a change in outlook has changed their results on the ice. And the biggest sporting event in the country is now more welcoming to everyone. How a local foundation is helping the NFL make their Super Bowl experience sensory inclusive, and the connection the nonprofit organization has to Penn State. It's time for Nittany Game Week. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nittany Game Week. I'm Todd Sadowski alongside Ryan Yee. With the college and pro seasons now complete, we're going to hear from our Nittany Game Week football guys, Tom Bradley and Jay Paterno, a little later in the show. But Ryan, a trio of former Penn Staters are now Super Bowl champions.
Yeah, incredible to see. At the front of the line is running back Saquon Barkley. Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts said it is as the final seconds were ticking off the clock in the Super Bowl. He told Saquon, "This is you. You were the final piece of the puzzle."
And add his fellow Nittany Lions, Jahan Dotson and Tariq Castro-Fields, to the list of PSU players that will be fitted for championship rings for Philly. We're talking Super Bowl 59 to start our opening drive. It was a long but fun week in New Orleans, and this is the way it culminates, with the Eagles and Saquon celebrating the second Super Bowl championship in franchise history, second in 7 years for the team. Saquon's first season with Philly, a record-breaking one. He rushed for more yards than any other back in NFL history when you combine the regular season and playoffs, 2,504. His influence and popularity on and off the field with his teammates and fans is hard to match, and he's thrilled to be able to call himself an NFL champion.
That's what it's all about. You dream about these moments as a little kid, and it's just amazing to have your family and friends, and especially your family, been with me through it all, the ups and the downs, and here we are, world champs. Big shout out to the defense. They came out and set the tone. We don't win that game without them. Offense, we came out, had a game plan. We knew that the focus was going to be on the run game, and we took advantage of it. We took advantage of it in the pass game. Jalen came out, played big, and it took a team effort. So coaches, everyone in the Eagles organization, it takes all of us. She looked prettier in person, I tell you that. You think about it, it's better in person than it is in Madden, I tell you that, playing as a kid. But it's everything you dream of, and I'm just happy to be able to hold it, give it a kiss, and be world champs.
That's Saquon talking about the Lombardi Trophy, celebrating along with a pair of fellow Penn Staters, wide receiver Jahan Dotson and defensive back Tariq Castro-Fields, who was not on the active roster, but when it takes all of them, that means the practice squad as well. And we caught up with both of the guys earlier in the week. The Eagles assembled an impressive roster, making a move to trade for Dotson from their division rivals, the Commanders. It allowed the Lehigh Valley native to join forces with another hometown hero in Barkley.
Me and Saquon, we talked a bunch throughout the years, being that, we played each other in high school, went to Penn State. So, we had a lot of familiarity, but, being able to share this together. And, it's crazy because we were just at practice the other day, and we were talking, it's crazy that we're both from the Lehigh Valley, and we're both representing the hometown team in the Super Bowl.
Dotson made a huge catch inside the 2 to set up the Eagles' first touchdown. Castro-Fields was a reserve for Philly, but told us he's grateful for the opportunity, continues to work hard to earn an active roster spot each week. Back in Happy Valley, their former coach was watching closely. James Franklin had a press conference earlier in the week to discuss upcoming winter workouts, staff changes, and other business. First things first, you got to recognize the Nittany Lions now on top of the football world.
The Super Bowl, and Saquon's success and Jahan's success and Tariq Castro-Fields. Really cool to be a part of this journey with these guys. All the way back from when we recruited them. So to see them having that type of success on that stage, really cool. So congratulations to those guys. Kind of went back and forth with some text messages with all of them.
The coach keeps those open lines of communication with his former guys. One more Super Bowl note: we put together in last week's episode our Roadmap to Victory segment on Saquon's journey to the NFL, getting a lot of views online. So check it out if you missed it at NittanyGameWeek.com.
Now for some winter sports action. The men's hockey team is fresh off an impressive road series at Wisconsin. It's only the 7th time in program history that the Nittany Lions have recorded a sweep away from home, and they dominated the Badgers. 2-0 shutout, followed by a 6-2 blowout the next day in Madison. The story of the series is 6'4" junior goalie Arseny Sergeyev. He's a brick wall between the pipes as he stopped 64 of the 66 shots he faced in 2 games. Friday, he records his 4th shutout of the season. You can see his handiwork in the second game to keep the Nittany Lions in front 3-2. The 4 shutouts is a record for a single season and ties the career program record as well later in the game. Freshman Charlie Serrato measures up a shot with a 5-on-3 advantage. His snipe puts it out of reach as Penn State outscores the Badgers 8-2 for the weekend. You always look for ways to motivate and teach. Coach Godowski talked about using something from the national championship women's volleyball team and applying it to his guys.
Semifinal game when they were down 2-0 and they were down actually 22-16. There was a stat that came on TV that said something that they were like 0.03% to win the match at that time. And I was lucky to get I was very curious as to what was said in the timeout. And I got a little inside information that it was very confident. It was that, hey, we're coming, it's going to click, let's just keep playing. And I thought that was awesome instead of let's go. And we had to talk about it with the team. And we had a tendency to get a little frantic when things were going down, and it didn't really turn out for us. And so we discussed the women's volleyball team and what they did, and had the opportunity after that to just, when things weren't really going our way, to try to stay positive and believe in what we did. And that seemed to work extremely well.
And the Nittany Lions have points in 8 of their last 10 Big Ten contests. They host Notre Dame in Happy Valley for a pair of games this weekend. Up next, our roadmap to victory with a special feature on sensory inclusion at big sporting events. We'll tell you about the commitment that NFL has made for all fans to enjoy the Super Bowl experience coming up when Nittany Game Week returns.
Roadmap to Victory is sponsored by the R&R family of companies.
Welcome back to Nittany Game Week. It's the biggest sporting event annually in the United States, and the Super Bowl experience is one of the biggest draws for fans during the week.
Yeah, that's right, Todd. The NFL and a foundation with roots in Pennsylvania are making sure it's inclusive for everyone.
And that foundation, the XL Foundation, is part of the R&R family of companies. In this week's Roadmap to Victory, we show how and why they're helping the NFL accomplish their goals. It's a football fan's dream playground, the Super Bowl experience, where you can pretend to be your favorite NFL player. Run, throw, catch, all with loud music blaring and bright lights shining. For some people, the sheer volume and size of an event like this is an overload on the senses. That's where the XL Foundation comes in to help make it a more welcoming experience.
The XL Foundation is partnered with Culture City, and Culture City is also a nonprofit that's based on sensory inclusion, so people with PTSD, autism, ADHD have a safe space to disappear to in events like this with all the lights and the noises and the people. And we sponsor a trailer each year, and it travels around to all kinds of events throughout the United States.
Events in the U.S. don't get any bigger than the Super Bowl. R&R CEO Rich Francis is a Penn State grad. So is his daughter, Elisa. She's also the president of the foundation. And for the 3rd consecutive year, the XL Foundation was at the Super Bowl. Normally, they have their sensory activation vehicle with them. This year, the Eagles were in the big game, so everyone involved agreed to the Eagles bringing their sensory trailer for guests at the experience to utilize. It's a service not everyone is aware of. When they find out it's here, it is greatly appreciated.
I love coming to these events. It's so heartwarming. There's parents that come up and didn't know we were here, and they were about to leave and walk out the doors of the event, and they saw us, and we ended up giving them headphones or the strobe light glasses, and people will cry. They're so happy. It's overwhelming.
Kits are provided that included the headphones, the glasses, even a card the person can point to that shows what emotion they're feeling or something they need if they don't speak.
The trailer is a temperature-controlled space, so it has dim lighting, so it's like a calm, comforting place to be. And then it also has some bean bags so people can sit and relax in the corner. It has a couple different sensory towers is what we call them, and lights, so it has something that they can focus on to relax.
Back in September, we met up with Rich and Elisa outside of another loud environment that the XL Foundation has made sensory inclusive. Penn State games in Beaver Stadium, where they sponsor a sensory room.
What we're trying to do is desensitize the senses, so the hearing, the smells, the sight, the sounds, the touch of people bumping into you. You know, Penn State being the amazing stadium that it is, it's loud, there's lots of people are excited.
The Super Bowl, Nittany Lions home games, coming soon, another massive Penn State-based event will be completely sensory inclusive.
We'll also have the Thon. We're going to be doing the sensory, making sure Thon is completely sensory inclusive. It's spreading the word of inclusivity, and it's really making an impact, and people are starting to realize like how not going to an event affects people and how going to an event affects certain people. So it's really great.
One more note to the story, the NFL is going to be completely sensory certified. This is now the normal. This service will be offered at every Super Bowl from here on out.
Yeah, very cool stuff, Todd. The athletic department gave some updates this week to a major renovation project underway at Beaver Stadium. The work started after the football season by demolishing the press box and West Side Upper Bowl. Here's a look at the renderings of what the new premium seating areas and enhanced fan amenities will look like. The project will maintain the stadium's capacity of over 100,000 while adding new clubs, suites, and improved concourses. During peak construction, 450 workers will be on site daily, generating $15 million in economic impact for the region. The renovation will also enable year-round use of the facility and include sustainability upgrades aimed at LEED certification. The multi-phase project is expected to be completed before the 2027 football season.
Unfortunately, it's going to be a while before we see college and NFL games again for football fans. We bring in our football guys, Tom Bradley and Jay Paterno, to wrap up an incredible year. What are the biggest offseason issues to look out for when we come back in our Impact interview?
Impact Interview is sponsored by the Pocono Mountains, where small-town charm meets big adventures. Book your trip today by visiting PoconoMountains.com.
Welcome back to Nittany Game Week. It's a glass half full, glass half empty kind of mentality. You either say only 6 more months until a new football season begins, or wow, 6 more months until football season begins. Either way, the end of the college and now NFL seasons makes an impact. So we go to our football guys, Tom Bradley and Jay Paterno, and talk about what it's like to watch players you've coached win a Super Bowl and what they'll be paying attention to in the offseason.
You start with your winter workouts, which most teams do very early in the morning. And that's always, I know as a player, you know, that alarm would go off at a ridiculous hour. It would still be dark. And you'd have to get out of your warm bed and walk across campus or walk, you know, even if it's only a block or two, and go work out. But for everybody, it's a time of trying to, you're reviewing cut-ups of what you did the year before in terms of film. You're evaluating what worked and what didn't work. And then you're looking at ways you can get improve. And also at the same time, you're looking at a different depth chart and how do these pieces, you know, losing a guy like Tyler Warren, how do you make up those 99 catches? And you've got transfer portal, and you've got recruiting, and you've got now all kinds of stuff going on with revenue sharing. So they won't be bored.
Football has different seasons. There's the actual season, then there's the winter program, then there's the spring practice, then you go through the summer session, you know, so it's always these different things are going on all the time during the year, and you want to be successful. And not to mention, you still got to remember, they still go to school too.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting when you see some of the coaches around the country now talking about spring practice. With the 16 games that these guys are playing, there's a lot of talk about going to an OTA type setup with like the NFL. So you wouldn't have a hard and fast spring practice. You would have some workouts in probably February, go back on the field in March, maybe something in May, whatever it may be. So it's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds as well.
Saquon Barkley, Tariq Castro-Fields, even though he was on the practice squad, and Jahan Dotson, all three won the Super Bowl. What is that like to have those conversations, to watch the guys that you coached go and win a Super Bowl? It's got to be a really neat experience.
It's rewarding to watch that. I went through it with Michael Robinson, some other guys, but, Mike, I was particularly close to, and what it meant to him, what it meant, I was at his house in Richmond, and I think one of the coolest things is they get a replica Lombardi trophy. I'm like, okay, so Mike, I'm jealous of that, that you have that. If you turn around, it may disappear. But, seeing guys like Saquon, Jahan Dotson, was so close to getting that touchdown. And seeing what's happened for Saquon, he was on Jimmy Fallon the other night, and he got some grief about how quickly he downed that beer on video. And he said, well, I did go to Penn State. So there's a proud moment for Penn Staters that he was trained. And then he made the comment that his role in the tush push was to push the tush. And Jimmy Fallon fell out of his chair. So it's fun to see those things happen for guys that are Penn Staters that really make you proud.
Well, the other thing I know, when they used to come back, it always never failed. They'd come in your office and sit down, and then they'd flop their hand up on your desk so you could just see the big ring. They wanted to make sure you got to see the ring.
Jim Knowles is now the defensive coordinator. What's implementation going to be like for a defensive system in the offseason?
Well, one of the things that's going to happen is it's the verbiage. It's how you talk to each other. That's the thing. So I'm sure Coach Knowles is going to try to make it as close as he can to what they already understand, the words that they use, because in football, and Jay can tell you this, we may call one thing on defense, they might call it another thing on offense. The verbiage is key to being able to teach.
Running backs coach situation with Jaywan Sider, just from a recruiting standpoint, I know you handled a lot of the recruiting, those types of things. How does that work out when you have a guy that's so imperative to what you're doing and bringing guys from the South or a different region, or how that type of thing works?
Well, when it does happen, you like it to happen after signing day. So you got those guys committed. But, with the transfer portal now, nobody's really locked down anymore anyway. So I don't think the timing's ever any good. We'll see how this all plays out. And I'm sure they'll go out and get themselves a really good coach to replace them.
What are you guys going to be watching in the off season? What are some of Jen? You keep an eye on the rules and the consulting with the NIL and how that stuff changes. And then Tom, just in general, what kind of things will you be looking for in the off season?
I think the two big things to watch off the field are going to be the court system. because there's been a directive that came out about Title IX doesn't apply to revenue sharing. Will that hold up? You can bet that that's going to be in court and be litigated. Is the settlement that the NCAA has in place right now, is that going to hold? Because there's been a number of complaints filed along with that they'll have to review in April. And I still think that the playoff system may get tweaked, because whatever they do before July 1 gets grandfathered in before revenue sharing kicks in. So you may see some changes there. And then the Big Ten is going to push to try and get 4 guaranteed slots next year. So there's going to be plenty to keep you busy, be away from the X's and O's.
Most of the time, the coaches are going to be spent on, hey, we got to get ready for the season. They've got a schedule that's very, very interesting next year. That away schedule is a little bit tricky, don't you think, Jay? At UCLA, at Iowa, at Ohio State, and at your favorite place, Michigan State. So they really don't have as much to do with some of the things that's going on in the court system, and that's for other people to handle. And I think they're getting worried and getting focused and get ready for next season.
Always appreciate the chance to catch up with Tom and Jay. And if you want to get caught up on all of our previous Impact interviews and Nittany Game Week episodes, make sure you go to NittanyGameWeek.com for the extended conversations, along with other web-exclusive content like our depth chart and Nittany Game Week podcasts. Not done yet. Still have to reveal our Dean's List for the top Penn State performers of the week and a unique birthday wish for Saquon Barkley. We're heading into the final minutes on Nittany Game Week.
The Nittany Game Week Depth Chart is brought to you by Burke and Bradley Orthopedics. Located in Pittsburgh, Burke and Bradley Orthopedics is a comprehensive sports medicine practice, providing patients with the most current and innovative approaches in diagnosis and treatment.
We We finished the job. We get our second ring. I only got a card for Saquon because he got himself some new hardware. That's right, baby. Happy birthday, Saquon. Happy birthday, Coop. Go Birds. Go. Yeah.
Eagles fans in the French Quarter. Well, that's quite a mix. What a birthday for Saquon Barkley and Eagles cornerback Cooper DeJean. They share the same B-Day, and now they share the same Super Bowl championship. And what a performance from the Birds in New Orleans.
Yeah, I think you put it best there. A very, very odd mix. All right, we got some Nittany Game Week Dean's List honors to dish out from this week for some of the top student athletes in blue and white. We start off with the men's hockey team there where we got the 2 shutouts this week. We talked about him earlier. Nittany Lions netminder Arseny Sergeyev was named Big Ten First Star of the Week. We talked about him earlier. 64-66 shots over the weekend, helping push the series sweep over Wisconsin, the 7th Big Ten series sweep on the road in program history. Teammate Reese Lawback joined Sergeyev on the list, taking 3rd Star of the Week honors. This is the 2nd in 3 weeks for Lawback and the 3rd of his career. Yet another multi-point game this weekend, scoring the game winner in both. On to men's lacrosse. Senior goaltender Jack Fraction earned Big Ten Specialist of the Week, the 1st of his season. And in men's track, Johnny Dwyer earned his Big 10 Freshman of the Week, the 3rd of the season after running a final winning sub 6.6 in the 60-meter dash at Penn State's Sykes and Savick Challenge on Saturday. Kudos to this week's Dean's List honorees.
And in addition to a television show, we're bringing Nittany Lions together with our depth chart at NittanyGameWeek.com. We're connecting businesses that support the show with our viewers. Our goal is to build a team that keeps our hometowns strong. If you haven't noticed yet, we have a lot to share with you when it comes to Penn State athletics. It doesn't all fit into a 30-minute window. Make sure to check out NittanyGameWeek.com for web-exclusive content and to watch past episodes of the show. What an incredible week in New Orleans for the Eagles, their fans, and as we've detailed, the former Penn State guys that are now Super Bowl champions. We always finish with some pride picks. Show us your spirit and submit your picks on our website. For Ryan, I'm Todd. Thanks so much for watching Nittany Game Week. We'll see you next time.